Welcome to week 43 of my Trading for a Living challenge, where the goal is to make over $1,000 every single week selling options. And if you are brand new, the full playlist of my week by week videos can be found down below in the description and inside the pinned comment. So let's get right into this week's video. So if we have a look here, week 43, again, smash the target of $1,300 versus the 1,029. So that's $323 or 31% up for the overall week. And if we have a look here, the target so far first 3 weeks is 3,086, and I've done 3,573. So that gives me around $500 to play with as we go into the last week of November. And I mentioned in the last week's video where this week I'll be rolling a lot of my trades into the next July expiration cycle, but I didn't realize I got my bearings wrong, that it's actually week 44. So this week, when I'm shooting this video, that I'll be placing all my rolling trades into the July cycle. So when we come and look at the trades for week 43, this was all done through one trade, which I did roll into the July cycle. So I rolled one trade early because I was afraid that we're getting closer to the at the money strike. So I decided to push that out for duration, and I had a lot of contracts. And for those who've been following, you can probably guess which trade I rolled. So if we have a look at where we are from a cumulative standpoint, again, 5%. I've been hovering between 5 and 6% now, changing and chopping every single week here, but $2,000. So if we look at where we were in 1958, and now we're just above 2,000, so an additional around $100 gap. So that gap is widening slightly, but from a percentage perspective, it's staying fairly constant. So still confident I can narrow down that gap, but if I can end at minus 5% for the overall challenge, I need 11 grand to go in the next, how many other weeks is that? 9 weeks to go to the end of this challenge. And if we have a look at from a time perspective, again, 25 hours so far to accumulate the 42,000 versus the 1,700 hours to get 2 grand more. So again, the trade-off is there, so we're all good. In terms of overall buying power, 43% of the account, so we're still fairly good going into the roll. And I want to just take a second to explain the rolling aspect of this, because again, appreciate some of you may not be brand new to this challenge, and if you're not, make sure you follow all the way right to the beginning, where all of this will make a lot of context. So I'm selling options on stocks looking at a 45 to 60 day duration. And when we get to around 21 days till expiration, I roll out those options to the next monthly cycle for duration, decrease my cost bases, move around my strikes, all of those kind of good things inside there. So from that perspective, I found my trading, because I'm adding duration, I get to pick up more premium. And because I'm adding duration, even if positions start to go against me, as you'll see with some of these positions, it's not that big of an unrealized loss, because I've still got duration on my time for that trade to come back in. So that's just to set context. And again, I encourage you guys to watch the previous videos so you guys understand this in a bit more detail, whereas these videos are just more of the updates on the trades I'm making, as well as some annotations to the chart. So that gives you quite a decent segue, and we're going to talk about Coinbase. Base was the only trade that I made for the 8 contracts on the $45 put that I've got. So I had a $45 put expiring June 16th, which is the June monthly cycle, and I decided to roll that out in time to the July cycle for a credit. So it cost me $960 or $120 per contract, as you can see from the screenshot there, times by 8, so it cost me $960 to buy it back. And then to sell it, it was $2.89 or $289 times by the 8 contracts to sell that option at the new expiration. So if we net those two out, gives you your $1,352, which is what you can see on the screen from the overall tracker. So again, I could have done more trades, but I felt like I didn't need to do any more trades. And looking at it, I wish I did do some more trades, especially Tesla, which is starting to take a turn up. But we'll go through all the trades very quickly in terms of what's open, where I think these stocks are headed, and so you can get an idea of what my thought process is for the 21-day rolling expiration. So if we have a look at get rid of that. So if we have a look at where Coinbase is at the moment, Coinbase again flirting with recent highs over here. So we have this $45 put, which we can see prices moved away from, which is exactly what I need. So it'd be fairly interesting to see what happens with Coinbase, if it's going to break out or break down in the triangle pattern that we've got forming there. And again, we've got the 70 call and the 80 call, which again, I'll probably look to push up slightly and roll out to the next cycle. So I should pick us a decent premium. I think it's 3 contracts of each I've got of that for Coinbase. Again, fairly comfortable with those. Tesla's been on a bit of a rampage tear, as you can see here. It's at 191 now. So I've got a in the money call, and this short call here is also going to be very soon in the money, but we still got time on our side, so we should be able to get fairly decent credits for these ones. So what I'll be looking to do is roll these out to the July cycle, and if I can push them anywhere near the 200 strike, I think that will be quints in. My short inverted strangle that I've got is now, my put is now the money, which is good. So therefore I'll be able to roll this one for a decent credit, and again rolling this to $135. So again, this is my problem child that I have. These ones I'm fairly comfortable with in terms of managing. I think they're not too far they're not too far away. We're not at 220, 230, so these are pretty much at the money, so I can pick up some juicy premium for that particular one. Tesla is becoming a little bit more of a problem child. In going up, is breaching these strikes as well as going further away from my core, which is not what I wanted to do. So again, when I moved this from May to June, I left the strike exactly the same. That seems to have worked out pretty well for me, because they should be out the money come Friday or thereabouts for, again, a nice decent roll. We have a look at where Meta is at the moment. Meta just keeps making new highs, and we talked about this in the last video. It's making higher highs, and the RSI doesn't really want to go any higher, so it has to go down at some point. I just don't know when it's going to go down, but because again, you still got this missed pivot over here. But I've given up with Meta, to be honest, with this situation, because again, I've got shares at 139.50, which I want to get out of, really, and I've got all this upside, but this silly call is causing me a problem here. So all I need to do is get this call up to 140, which I probably won't do by the end of this challenge, but I'm going to roll this up by $5, and then again, I've got the inverted one, and I've got 2 puts here that I use to offset any debit that I'm going to pay there. But Meta is just a freak of nature. I wish I never had this call on, and if I have all of this upside right now, and I'll be way up on my target to get into the shares, getting over $50,000, but we are where we are with it. If I go back here just to check, so we've done Tesla, done Meta, done Coinbase. Google, I've got this put, which is probably worth nothing. Yeah, I've got the 95 put, and we are at a high of 124. Again, the RSI is pretty much flat, so I'm expecting to see some pullbacks. We've got a couple of missed pivots here that I think it will pull back to. There's not much premium in this. I might roll this up to the 100 strike, probably. Something generates some more premium, depending on if I need it. If I don't need to do anything, I'm gonna just let this expire out. So I've got no issues with them. IWM, now this could be a problem for me now, if I believe, with my challenging to the upside. You can see here we've got the 184, 185, and then we've got the 160, 158. So again, we still have room. We have $4 to $5 room on the upside. I think there, so I'm going to roll these out at the end of the week, push up the strike, probably get this a bit tighter, push the puts up a bit so I can get some more room to the upside. So again, even though these positions are not going in my favor, they're still within the zone. And again, they're fairly easy to manage. This is what I love about this, and just keep generating that premium, really, and eventually the stock will comply. So again, like I said, it's hitting up these highs again. It'll be interesting to see if it's just going to come crashing back down, or it's actually going to break through and make new highs. So again, I've still got another week to decide what I want to do with these positions. And then lastly, we got Mara, the 12.5 strike. So again, here with the 12.5, again, it's playing around its pivot level. For those who don't believe in pivot levels, again, rebound off the pivot, using this as resistance here. And again, we're in this range, so we just want to see what happens to price as it goes within this range. So I'm comfortable with this. Again, I could roll this out to the 15, 16, push it way up. Even if I get a couple of $100 premium and whack it up by another $2, $3, I will do that just because I have the trade open. If I wasn't trading for a living or this part of this challenge, all these ones that are in profit like Mara, I'll probably just close them out because I don't need to have these trades on, because I'm trying to, for a challenge, hit a dollar target every single month. Therefore, I need to continue rolling these trades and having these trades open. So I really hope you found this useful. All in all, yes, the market has been moving up, which is causing some of my positions to be in the money or close to in the money. But again, I will roll up and out and utilize the put element to go out further so I can give myself some more breathing room and generate that credit. So really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I should catch you guys in the next one.